We are going through one of the most boring times in the stock market so far this year. The stock market seems to be literally going nowhere. Volatility is at its lowest it's been in over a year, which coincides with market tops. What could possibly go wrong? Guys, the stock market is becoming more and more difficult to navigate and predict. And in today's video, we'll be going through some possible scenarios of what could happen next in the stock market. And guys, just before I start, if you do enjoy today's video, then please give it a like. It does help us a lot, guys. And if you are new to the channel, then please consider subscribing. We do bring out the latest stock market analysis outlook every single Monday morning, and we normally go through both the technical and fundamental analysis to help you navigate the stock market better. Now let's start off by looking at the chart in front of us. Now guys, since the beginning of the month we literally went nowhere, but this has happened before so far this year. Now let's go back to the beginning of the year. In January, at the beginning of January, we've had the massive oversold rally to take us to the highs of the year. So we had the rally throughout the month of January. Then we had the massive consolidation throughout the whole of most of February, and then at the back of February, the last 10 days, we had the massive pullback down. In March, at the beginning of March, we've had a massive rally again, which we predicted here on this channel. We predicted this massive oversold rally at the beginning of March to take us to April, where we've been consolidating ever since the beginning of the month. Now guys, we've seen this before in February, and the lack of buying power here to take us to new highs is very concerning. It's just suggesting to us that this rally is getting exhausted as it stands, and is looking to pull back, and it's literally doing exactly as it's done over in February. So be very, very careful if you're looking to go long at those levels, guys. Now, why have we had a massive rally since the beginning of March? Well, guys, let's look at this. We've had this year's rally, according to Bloomberg here, this article that we've had on the 22nd of April. We've had a $1 trillion central bank liquidity injection in the economy, according to Citigroup. So we've had the massive liquidity injection in March to be able to stabilize the banking crisis. Hence we had that massive rally. However, guys, this is becoming to an end now. This is getting to an end, and hence there's no more fuel to take the market higher. And this coincides with, we have a couple of charts here, guys. Now this is showing us the cost of hedging against the 10% drop in the NASDAQ. This is becoming more and more expensive, which suggests to us that a lot of people are buying protection against a drop from here. The cost of buying protection now against the crash, a drop in the NASDAQ, it's at its highest it's been since April of 2022. And we know what happened in April of 2022. We had a massive 10% to 15%, I think it was, drop in the NASDAQ. So this is very concerning, guys. Also, if we're looking at this chart over here, this is showing us, we have the blue the blue color line here, guys, is the fear and greed index, which we like to watch closely on this channel, and the red line we have the S&P 500. And guys, you know that when we get above 60, when we get to fear, or above 75 to extreme fear, that normally tends to coincide with tops in the S&P 500. We've seen it here in July last year. We've seen it a couple of times here as well, in December, October, December here, and we've seen it here in February as well. Now we're getting again to that fear to extreme greed to extreme greed levels, which may coincide with also a market top and a small pullback to around perhaps the 4,000 level for now. This is what we are watching for now. So be very careful trying to buy at those levels, guys. It seems that there's no more fuel in the tank for now. Now, what should we be watching for the week ahead? Now, guys, just before I go into the news to be watching for the week ahead, last week we had one of the highest options expiration levels on record. Hence, we did not move at all throughout the week. We literally went sideways the whole week. Now, those options, we had a massive call wall at 4,200 and a massive put wall at 4,100. Because of that, guys, we could not move. The stock market, the S&P 500 could not move too much. Now that's gone now. That's past us. Coming into this week, the stock market is free to move. So it's very likely that we'll see a lot of movements coming into this week, a lot of volatility coming back into the market. There's some important, last week we had no economic news, no important economic news. Now this week we have some important economic news. On Thursday, guys, we have the GDP data. It will likely show us if the US is in a recession or not. And we have the core PCE as well. And then on Friday, guys, very important, we have more inflation data. We have the PCE data, okay, coming into the Fed meeting next week. Very, very important, guys. Also, last week we've had earnings, guys. We've had Tesla and Netflix reporting, and they disappointed. Now, remember what we've talked about in the past, guys. We talked about that this year's rally has been maintained, and we've had such a massive rally because of tech companies and because of the mega cap companies, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Nvidia, Meta. Those companies have literally held this rally throughout this year so far. Now, Netflix and Tesla have had very disappointing results, guys, and it's off to Microsoft and Alphabet to show us whether those forward earnings are sustainable or not. And if they disappoint, Microsoft, Alphabet disappoints on Tuesday, and then we have Meta and Amazon disappointing on Wednesday and Thursday, guys, there's literally no good news to take the market higher, and we can have 1 day, 1 or 2 days that can literally wipe out 7 or 8 trading days of the rally that we had so far. So be very careful. Watch these earnings together with the economic news that we have this week. It's going to be very, very important. And the next week, guys, we have the Fed meeting, and we also have Apple reporting. So be on guard to that. There will be no video next week, guys. So make sure you are aware of this before you start your week next week. Now, let's start off by looking at the S&P 500 here. And guys, we've had, literally as discussed before, the market has been going sideways since the beginning of the month. There's not a lot to talk about here. Now, what we are looking here, guys, there's a number of levels that I'm watching. So the S&P 500 is about to trigger a sell signal here on the daily time frame. Previous times, okay, we had a sell signal that happened in December. It happened also in February. We had a massive pullback down in last year in December, pullback down, and in February a pullback down as well. So guys, if this is triggered now, we may get another pullback down. Now, where we should be looking out for the market to pull back down to? Well, there's a number of levels here, guys. I'm looking at 4,000. Let's just go to this level here. So there's plenty of liquidity, guys, resting below where literally right at the lower expected move for the week, 40.70. This is a crucial level, guys, and there's something to pay attention on. Why is it so important? Because this will be a take profit target if you are short the S&P 500, but more importantly, we need this level to hold here for more upside here, okay, for us to go over to and clear the liquidity that is resting above there. If this level is not, the bulls are not able to hold this level and we go down, then we may potentially even go all the way down to the lower expected move for the month. So something to pay attention on. Now, what are we looking for here? And let's just go over to the 1 hour time frame here. Now, we did open with a gap, and the stock and the price now is trying to go up higher to fill that gap. Okay, now it's very important to see, is this gap, after it's filled, is it going to act as resistance to take the prices lower, or is it going to act as support to take the prices higher? And that's one thing to watch. Now, what have we done so far today? We've cleared that liquidity. There was a clean liquidity here, guys. We cleaned that off, and then we had a massive rally after that was cleared. Now, it's very important. We have one liquidity area here, one here, and the one resting right at the lower expected move for the month. Guys, if we do pull back all the way down here, very importantly, it's very important to see what price does. So say we have something like this, okay, at some point this week, do we see a consolidation here and then boom, a massive move higher, or do we see price literally going through this, or do we see a consolidation and then we move lower? Very important to see what happens here, guys. Very important. Obviously, if price comes to the lower expected move for the week, we will be looking for buying opportunities, because we don't want to be selling at this point. But dynamic hedging can kick in, which can take the prices lower. So this area is crucial, guys, for what the stock market will do for the month of May. So watch this level very closely, because you can see what happened here. We've cleared the liquidity, consolidated here on a smaller time frame, and then took us higher. So are we going to see something, if price gets here, are we going to see something similar to that, or is the price just going to go through this and then keep going lower? And if it is, then be very careful, guys. As it stands, I'm looking for a pullback. This also looks like, here on the hourly time frame, does look like a head and shoulders as well. So this can take us all the way back down to this lower expected move for the week. So this is something to watch for the coming week, guys. Also, we have Apple here, guys, and we've been discussing this over the last couple of weeks, how important this trend line here is, and we've managed to gap up above, consolidated above, and then we pull back below it, guys. Was this a fake break, and are we going lower from here? Because a lot of people are long here now. They've seen this break, this consolidation, and they are long. Now they can trap them down, and we can see more downside pressure, especially if their if their earnings disappoint. We are going higher here with negative divergences, so this is not the place to buy as it stands, guys. Be careful here, watch this carefully. We may get a pullback, okay, and then if we go below this point and we see a close below this level 159, then there will be more downside to come, guys, and there's plenty of liquidity resting below this area here, so I can see a pullback to clear that liquidity before going higher and literally breaking, having a true break above this trend line. Okay, be very careful. If we do go higher, close higher, and we have some continuation, then we can go higher to clear that liquidity, and that depends, a big portion of that on earnings. Next, we get the UK 100, and guys, not a lot to talk about on here. We are at the daily IC here, and we are just consolidating within this. Not close to a sell signal yet, so nothing to talk about on there, but this is a level where we would like to see a pullback, at least down to this daily IC, and then we'll have to monitor to see what price wants to do once it gets here. We have liquidity resting above this area and above here as well, so a potential can be where price can go higher to clear the liquidity before going lower. But as it stands, there's a good chance that price will pull back from here, guys. Okay, it's consolidating, it's doing exactly what we wanted to do in this daily IC. Next, we get the DAX here, and the DAX here, guys, almost close to a sell signal. And once we had, sell signals in the past have coincided with nice pullbacks. We have liquidity resting above this area here, and we are getting pretty overextended here, guys. We're getting negative divergences. All I'm watching on here, guys, if you are to I want to see price pulling back down and coming to clear that liquidity resting here. Actually, if we go back to the daily IC, I'm looking for a pullback all the way down to clear that daily liquidity at around 15,500 or so, and that would be a nice area to see what price wants to do. I would like to see if there's two things that we have to watch here. If the liquidity here gets grabbed before pulling lower, then we'll definitely have a pullback. We'll most probably have a pullback to clear that and perhaps go even lower, guys. However, if this liquidity doesn't get grabbed and we get a pullback now to clear the liquidity, then I can see from here a move higher to clear the liquidity, and that will be the last push before we see a substantial move to clear this daily liquidity and into this daily IC. So those two things I'm watching, guys. Be very, very careful. Again, if we see a pullback in the other major indices, then the DAX is likely to follow as well. Next, guys, we get the US 30, and this has played out very nicely. We predicted this move last week. We said that we are in this daily IC, and all we were looking for was a consolidation and then a pullback lower. Now, what's our target? The target is this daily liquidity here, guys. We want to see price coming here, clearing the liquidity before perhaps going higher after that. So we need to see what price wants to do after, once it's cleared that liquidity. If we are going over, guys, to a smaller time frame, now what we can see here is that price has cleared the 20 and the 50 EMA, has managed to go below, and this is acting as resistance. As long as this can act as resistance, then we can see more downside pressure to go and clear that liquidity, that daily liquidity there, guys. Very importantly to see what happens after this liquidity is being grabbed. Are they going to push the prices lower, or are they going to consolidate and then move higher, exactly as it happened right here this morning? Very importantly to watch, guys. Okay, we do have also this trend line here, which will coincide well with this liquidity here, so this can act as potential support as well. So watch that for if price gets there. If we get a move higher from here, a strong move higher from here, then we could possibly go and clear that liquidity, guys, then that on the daily time frame. And if we do, watch to see whether we see a consolidation and then a sharp move lower. That will be your the consolidation here would be your hint to perhaps go short at that point. Next, guys, we get the US 100. Not a lot to talk about here, guys. All we've done here literally over the last couple of weeks, we went sideways again. Not a lot to talk about. We've managed to retest this trend line, and now we are going lower. Now we do have a number of liquidities. We have a liquidity zone here, and most notably this one here, sitting at around 12,520 or so. So monitor to see if price wants to get here. What does he want to do? Is he going to go lower, or does he consolidate to go higher and clear that daily liquidity if that hasn't been taken out already before going lower? Again, not a lot to talk about. We need to see if price closes here, is it going to carry on going lower, or is it just a liquidity hunt game where price just goes higher, clearing liquidity, then going lower to clearing the bottom liquidity? Now guys, we've discussed this. Now options are out of the way. The market should be free to move, especially if this gets going. The VIX. Now what happened in the VIX last week, guys? It's been a very boring game where we've opened with a gap higher, then went down lower to fill the gap, open with a gap higher, fill the gap, open with a gap higher, fill the gap. We've opened again this week with a gap higher. Are we going to play the game again this week, just literally fill the gap, or are we going to get a move higher? Watch this, guys. If on Monday the gap doesn't get filled, that's going to be very, very important, because if it doesn't get filled and we get a move higher here in the VIX, then we may have some continuation, which will put more pressure on the S&P 500, guys. The volatility, we've just cleared all the liquidity that was resting below, so it does make so much sense now for us to go higher, clearing at least the liquidity, and then if we manage to close above 20 and get some continuation above 20, then we can get to 25 and then more to 35. Okay, and that will put a lot of pressure on the S&P 500. Next, guys, we get the DXY, and the DXY here, as we predicted last week, we've said that we would like to see a bounce from here, which we did. It's exactly what we wanted to see. Now I want to see price going above the 20 and the 50 EMA here. This is acting as resistance, so we need to see price closing above here on the daily and getting some continuation. If we are to look at this, guys, we've had a lower low here, we've had a move higher here, causing a break of structure. Now we coming back here into this daily IC to take the market up higher to make a higher high, and there's plenty of liquidity resting above here. So if we are going to see a move higher in volatility, most likely we'll get a bid on the dollar as well. So watch that very carefully this week. I don't want to see a close below this daily IC, because if we are going to see a close below the daily IC, then it opens the door for more further downside in the dollar all the way back to 98.3. So watch this very, very carefully this week, guys. Next, we get gold over here, guys, and we predicted the top here on this channel. Exactly, we predicted. We've been talking about this for so long, talking how price wants to get, we would like price to get to this 4-hour IC and short from here, which we did. That's great. What are we targeting? There's so much liquidity resting here and coming to this daily IC. This is what we are targeting for now, guys. So if the dollar is able to get a bid, we'll put more pressure on gold as well, and this will most probably get to our target. We don't want price to go and clear up and close above this 4-hour IC, guys. We don't want to see price here, because if we are, then most probably the dollar is sinking and the stock market is moving higher and volatility is moving lower. So as it stands, this looks like it wants to move lower from here. It's not doing much, but as things start to pick up a bit, most likely we'll see a move here down on gold as well. Next, JPYUSD, and guys, this has played out perfectly. We've given this out last week. In last week's video, we've had trend line acting as support. This was broken, retested, and now it's going lower. What are we targeting? Well, we're targeting this daily IC here for now. As we've talked about it before, guys, if the dollar is getting a bit higher, it will put pressure on the JPYUSD. Now, one thing to note, we do have the Bank of Japan meeting this week. They're not likely to raise interest rates, which will most likely put pressure on the Japanese yen, and it will go lower. If they do come up with a surprise interest rate increase, then this move will most probably be invalidated. That's not the case, guys. There's a 99% chance they will not raise interest rates. So very unlikely that this can move higher, but nonetheless, watch that and be very, very careful. Lastly, let's talk about Bitcoin. Now guys, we predicted this perfectly here. We predicted the top perfectly on the on Bitcoin here. Now someone that I follow very closely, and I have so much respect for, has predicted that this was the top in Bitcoin for the year. Now I don't know what to say about that. I have mixed feelings about it. For now guys, we are aiming for this liquidity here to be grabbed, and then we want to see what will happen after that. Are we going to see price consolidate and then move higher, or are we going to see a move lower into this daily IC? And guys, if we go through this daily IC, then there's nothing stopping us for going all the way back here, all the way back to 20k. And if this doesn't hold either, then we're going all the way back to 16. So something to watch out for. For now, what we are targeting is this daily liquidity. Let's see what we get after price comes here. But well done to you guys. We smashed the top here. We've been looking for price to get here. It did get here. Got a nice short from here. Let's get to our take profit, and then we'll see what we can get after that. That's pretty much it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Just remember, there is no video next week. Thank you very much for watching. If you like to learn more about the strategies that we use, then head over to our website mcitradingacademy.co.uk, where you can find out more about the trading strategies that we use, and you can also join our free Discord community. Thank you very much, guys, and I hope you have a great trading week.